Welcome to Between the Cracks, Episode 5. Get ready for festive vibes as we explore Christmas in Richmond. Plus, discover the added sparkle Burgess Inspections brings with special ancillary services. Let's dive into the holiday magic.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Between the Cracks podcast. This week is going to be a little different. It's just going to be Matt and I talking about some of the exciting happenings in Richmond for the holiday season.
Talk about a little bit that's happening in Richmond and talk a little bit about some of the offerings of Burgess Inspections as well. So
yeah, we're just kind of giving you a rough update on everything that we could think of, honestly.
Yeah, so we're just going to have a laid back, relaxed
conversation.
That's right.
So Matt and I neither of us are Richmond natives, so we're still kind of trying to figure out some things to do in Richmond. But Matt's done a couple more things for the holidays than I have, so he has a little bit of personal experience. But we're going to start with one that we've both personally experienced, which is the Busch Gardens Christmas Town.
Yes, Christmas Town. We used to go every year. Always look for a Groupon when you go there. You always can get some good deals. The downside to a Groupon with Christmas Town is there's only specific days you can go.
Yeah.
So you have to really make a point to go on a certain day.
I think I ended up doing a Black Friday deal the year I went.
Yeah.
It was like a really good deal, but we had to act on it fast, and it was really hard getting my group of friends together that fast to be like, everyone's good paying this amount, right? Okay. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So what do you think about it overall?
I had a great time. It was freezing. And none of the rides were up because it was too cold. So it was just a lot of walking around and looking at lights. But it was fun. I had good company and it was good food.
Yeah, last time that we went, I thought it was pretty cold, but people were on rides. And I thought that was crazy because I thought it was way too cold to be on a ride. So, but people were on them. But, I love the lights. Mm-hmm. When our kids were very young and we went and saw Santa, loved seeing Santa.
Right.
But lines to do anything. I mean, we went there and because of the line for Santa, we pretty much, that's what we did.
That's all you did.
Was stand in that line. So once you get your kids out of that age,
right,
it's more fun. Just go and kind of enjoy it and walk around, stuff like that. But don't come hungry. Yeah. Because once again, you're going to be standing in a line for a while. There's just a lot of lines there.
That's true. And, it's fun, except it will get cold in December.
Yes. But it's totally worth it. I mean, I say all those things, but every time we've thoroughly enjoyed it. We've always had good memories. So
right. And then you're going to the King's Dominion Winterfest this year.
Yes. Winterfest is going to be our first time there. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I've heard it's not quite as crowded, but I don't know that yet.
Right.
I'll let you know after we go. One of the good things about that is, again, look for the Groupon. And they don't have blackout dates. You can go anytime.
That's awesome.
And that's what we like. That's quite honestly the reason why we got this year. We got a family 4-pack for $100 on Groupon, and we can go at any time, which we are actually going this weekend.
Yeah, it's a little bit closer, isn't it, as well?
It's a little bit closer. From where we are right now, it's definitely closer.
Yeah.
From where I live,
it's about equidistant.
Yeah, it's about.
Yeah, that's fair. When I was at Christopher Newport, Christmas Town was 45 minutes, but it was 45 minutes and it wasn't that bad. We went after classes. That was fun.
It's always good to blow some steam.
Yeah, we were like, okay, everyone get in the car as quickly as possible. So both of those are running until the end of the year. And Matt, you will have to report back which you prefer.
Absolutely.
So then one of the other events that I haven't been to personally is the Dominion Energy Garden Fest of Lights. That is running through the 7th of January, and that's in the Lewis Ginter Botanical Gardens. Yes. And so I think anytime you get to look at lights is always going to be beautiful and amazing. People are so creative with their Christmas lights.
If you want to see lights, Lewis Ginter is the place to be. Obviously Christmas Town, and they do a great job. But this is more laid back and quiet. It's nice. Every time that I've been to Lewis Ginter to see their Garden Fest of Lights, it's amazing. Totally worth the time to go there.
A lot of the things we have are outside because they're looking at lights, and that's great. But I am not a cold weather person, so I have to be very selective which ones I choose to go to this year.
The good news is about Virginia, it's not. I mean, it could be worse, right?
It could be
always
worse.
be worse. So
That's true.
But I'm not big on the cold either. But I acclimate to it. I mean, you wear the right clothing, and
Right.
when you're moving around, and if you're actually having a good time, you don't notice it.
That's true. That is true. So the next one is at Maymont, which is kind of similar. It's great all times of year, but this is the holiday happenings at Maymont, specifically the Merry Market, which is happening December 8th and 9th. And I think that's kind of like just a Christmas kind of celebration. I think there might have been wreath making there. And I'm sure Maymont is decorated for Christmas.
Oh, yeah. And Maymont's always worth going to any time of year.
Yes, absolutely. It's so much fun. I love looking at all the different animals.
Yeah. It's nice. And looking at those animals is free. So that's always a nice extra. I mean, it's not the greatest zoo in the world, but it's the best free zoo in the world.
That's true. And you can feed the animals too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not exactly free, but it's not that expensive. It's a couple quarters worth. Right. But it's fun. Okay, and then the next one you've done, the Tacky Light Run.
Yes, Tacky Light Run. We've done that the past 5 years.
Okay.
We're going again this year. It is this Saturday, the 9th, and that is so much fun. Walton Park area, off of Midlothian Turnpike, and those people know how to be tacky. It is crazy amazing, and they have judges, they have winners, they have all this stuff, so they really go all out. And it's a fun time to do the Tacky Light Run. We do not run it.
That's fair. I was going to ask.
We walk the 3 miles, and we look at everything and just have a good time. There's the people that live there, they're standing outside, and they're playing music, and they're cheering you on, and they're offering hot chocolate and water.
Nice.
And for the adults, there might be a few adult beverages out there that they're handing out. So they do a lot of good things. And even if you can't get there for the Tacky Light Run, they just go through Walton Park and look at the tacky lights there. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I love driving around and look at Christmas lights, especially the really elaborate ones. Yeah. In my hometown, there's actually a Google business profile for one of the houses. And that always amuses me.
Do you like to decorate yourself?
Well, I've never been the one decorating. My mom goes over the top sometimes, but never like the tacky light thing. She just is decorating sometimes on Halloween.
Nice.
Sometimes before Halloween, if she can swing it. Thanksgiving doesn't really exist in her mind.
I don't know if there is a bigger argument in the world than Christmas before or after Thanksgiving. I don't know. I think that's one of the...
That's fair.
You have your people on both sides of it. My wife is a after Thanksgiving at all costs. I don't care either way, to be honest with you. But the day after Friday, the day after our trees go up, and we decorate. We like to decorate. I don't think we're tacky.
Yeah.
But we do decorate. We actually have 3 trees in our house.
Oh wow! Okay.
Our 2 front windows and our breakfast nook window, and then we have lights outside the house, and we have a couple things in the yard. No blow-ups. We're not big on the blow-ups and stuff like that. But
that's actually funny. My parents moved, so I'm not super comfortable in the neighborhood. Like, it's been a couple years now, so I am a little bit more comfortable. My first Christmas in that house, I was driving, and it was a 12-hour drive, and I was getting into the neighborhood, and I was like, oh, it's a new neighborhood, and so the GPS kind of abandons you middle of the street. They're like, yeah, this is the house, and it's not the house. And so I'm going, and I'm like, oh, what does this house look like? Trying to remember. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not one of these with the blow-up. My parents bought a blow-up specifically to mess with me because they knew I would never imagine that was our house.
Yeah. We have a neighbor around the corner from us. They just bought the house last year. Last year was their first Christmas in our neighborhood. And before that point, we probably decorated the most in our neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And we went past their house, and they have a very small front yard. And they had like 20 extra large blow-ups in their yard. I mean, these were huge. They weren't like tiny little blow-ups. These things they're monstrous. You can go by today and see them. And you can't walk in their front yard. it's completely full of all of these blow-ups, and it's crazy. I mean, God bless them. I love people that like to decorate and stuff. So, but
there are two houses on my way to work, which on the way to work I can't really see them, but at night when I drive home, every inch of their yard, like one neighbor, and then like there's one house that has almost nothing, and then the next person, and both of them go over the top. And I watched them do it, like driving to work one day. I watched them like set things out, and they're not even like big blow-ups, they're just little figurines every square inch of both of their yards. The trees are lit beautifully. It's craziness. It makes driving home a lot more fun.
Yeah, always.
I'll be sad to see it go.
That's right.
And then, speaking of what my family would do for the holidays, is we would go and we drive and see the Christmas lights, and it was all fun. We also used to go, my mom would take me to see the Nutcracker every year. And for this area, the Nutcracker is shown at the Carpenter Theater through December 24th. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it this year, but it definitely was one of my favorite traditions growing up, was going and seeing Clara and all the dancers. And of course, the fight where the mouse costume is always different and always amusing.
Yeah, my wife and my daughter went and seen it, and they liked it. I'm not into those kind of things so much, so thankfully they love me enough not to ask me to go with them.
If you ever do get a chance, you should go see the mouse costume. Like, it's like a mouse king, and it's the most ridiculous ballet costume you've ever seen. It's by far the most amusing part. But no, that one is always fun to watch. And then this one excited us. Neither of us have been, but there is a Fan District Holiday House Tour that is happening December 9th and 10th. And it is historic houses in the Fan District that open themselves up for this tour. And you get to walk around and see, the historic houses, but also the decorations, and make it all holiday.
Oh, for sure. Definitely, if you are somebody that's interested in real estate, right? Home inspection company, of course we are. It's interesting to go and be able to see all those old houses in the Fan.
Yeah.
I think that one's pretty exciting to me. I've never heard of that one before. So I don't know. We have the Tacky Light Run on the 9th. Maybe we can make it on the 10th.
Yeah, no, I think that one would be really interesting to just see. I love seeing the inspection reports from historic houses. I think they're just beautiful. Yeah. And I'm sure when they're actually decorated.
For Christmas? Oh, yeah, amazing. And they're going to do a good job because they know people's coming to look at them. So it's going to look even more fabulous.
Well, speaking of Christmas decorations, the Jefferson Hotel, I hear, goes over the top.
Yes.
And I haven't experienced it yet, but we are going next week. We will be at a ceremony at the Jefferson as like a Burgess family, and I'm really excited about that.
Yes. And Janice Burgess, she gives me a hard time about it because she tells me every year, you need to see the Jefferson. I've never seen the Jefferson in my entire time here, whether it's at Christmas time or any other time. I've never been there, and she's always on me about it. I'll tell you, if there's one person that recommends the Jefferson, it's Janice Burgess.
Yes. And so this year she's dragging us along with her. So
I wouldn't say dragging. I'm looking forward to it.
We are looking forward to it. But she has finally found an event that we all can attend together at the Jefferson at Christmas, and she is beside herself. So I'm really excited for that next week. And then another one we had never heard of was Christmas Through the Centuries at the Henricus Historical Park on the 19th of December. And I'm really not sure exactly what that entails other than going through historical Christmas traditions.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun to check it out. I like the old stuff like that. Going down to Williamsburg and seeing stuff there and everything. And I know they're doing a kind of an old-timey Christmas thing there as well.
Oh, that's cool.
So just to kind of see Christmas through the centuries is really cool. Something that Janice actually got me, I just signed up for myself today. On the 15th, there's one called the Bethlehem Walk.
Okay.
And it's at Stony Point Church. And I think it's the 15th and 16th. Mm-hmm. And that when you go there and they have all these actors and everything that's built like you're back in Bethlehem.
Oh, awesome.
So I think that's going to be pretty cool. So all those kind of things are really cool to me. See history.
Right.
So I'm very interested in seeing what Christmas Through the Centuries looks like.
Yeah, definitely. And so, that all of it sounds like so much fun. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get to before I escape to the warmth of Florida, but I'm certainly going to try and see some of those.
Yeah, somebody here has got to go to Florida.
Celebrate with my parents and our inflatable Santa.
What's up with warmth? Come on.
Wait, you don't like going to the beach on Christmas Day?
Never been there. I don't know.
It's great. The ocean's a little cold. But the actual beach is nice. If it's like 80 out, it's perfect.
Yeah, I might have to maybe take a cruise for Christmas one of these years.
Oh, that's good. That's something you should work on.
Yeah.
So now that we've touched on all the fun stuff, we also wanted to talk a little bit about our ancillary services that we offer and why they're important.
Yeah, I've touched on a couple of them today. And one I'd like to talk about first is our indoor air quality assessment.
Okay, yeah. We've been doing a lot of those this year.
Yeah. Definitely, we doubled what we did from last year this year.
Yeah.
And they continue to grow, and it continues to be more important because it's important what we're breathing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there's, with the news so readily available now, it seems like, and maybe it's true, but it seems like people have more allergies now and more breathing issues now than they had in the past. I don't know if that's true because, again, you know, back in the 80s, I mean, you only knew about what was happening on your block or something. You didn't really know what was going on across the world like you do nowadays. So, but it's definitely been becoming more and more important for people to make sure that these things are taken care of. And so it's one of the things we recommend to anyone that has any concerns about the air that they're breathing.
Right. And so our air quality assessment, it shows if there's any mold in the air, roughly how much, what kinds, any other thing you could basically be breathing in that you want to know about.
Yeah, it'll tell you about all the different types of spores that are in the air and anything like that. And you kind of get an idea if there's any issues going on in your home. We have an upgraded version called the Total Particle Analysis. And that one will tell you everything that's in the air.
Yes, that one's a very extreme report to look at.
I mean, if there's, you know, dead bug particles in the air and you're breathing them in, it's going to tell you you're breathing them in.
Right.
A big one, and a lot of people, when they're breathing stuff in, they're having issues and they don't realize it. A lot of times it's fiberglass from the insulation.
Right.
So a lot of times when, you know, the attic gets open or something like that, particles from that insulation get into the ventilation system, and then those are getting blown around in your air.
That really cannot be healthy to breathe in.
It's definitely not. So it tests for all those kind of things. So not only that, though, any type of home is susceptible. I mean, you can't just say it's an old house or whatever. New houses, right? So you're building a new house, and while they're building that house, they bring all the materials to the site, right? And they got to build it. And before they get up all the siding and everything, what's that wood doing?
Yeah, it's just sitting out there. Sometimes it's covered. Sometimes it's not covered well.
But even once you get it to the pre-drywall stage, or before you get siding up, you know, it's definitely uncovered. And rain can get on it, you know, moisture can get on it. And that stuff can sit on it inside your walls.
Yeah, no, I've seen on a pre-drywall home, I've seen pictures of mold growing already, and you're like, this house can't be more than 2 months in the making, and there's already mold on the walls, or I guess the framing. It wasn't actually the drywall.
Now rest assured that this wood should be in some way treated so that it can kind of protect against those sorts of things. But you just never know. You might get that piece or whatever, and something just didn't, you know, you just never know. I can tell you we've done 11-month builder's warranty inspections, and we offer that.
Right.
Because, again, you're talking 11 months after it was built now. It's a good point to make sure that mold did not grow on the wood inside your walls.
Right, absolutely.
Right? So I think that's a very important one for people's health.
Well, absolutely. And I know we've talked about before more people being at home more often since the pandemic. And I think mold is or indoor air quality and mold assessment is really important for that, and as is radon, which we've previously talked about with April. Just making sure you know the levels, the air you're breathing, whether it's radon or any types of mold spores, or it's just really important for your health to kind of know and make sure you're treating things so you don't, I don't want to say deteriorate, but, you know, don't
just
have any.
Keep yourself healthy.
Yeah, you don't have any medical issues going on in the future. And we can also test water, which is mainly for people who are on well water.
Yes.
I believe.
I mean, you can test any water,
yes,
but it's well water is what's recommended to be tested. Yeah.
Recommended to be tested. But we can test for radon in water.
I mean, you definitely want to know what's going on in your body, right? People are always talking health conscious. And, so things like that are important, that what you're putting into your body. Now, a lot of people are using filters and stuff like that. And for the most part, those things can do a good job. But, if you're on well water, it's a good idea to get that tested, particularly for, as you said, the radon in water. I mean, there's no filter that's going to filter out radon. So
no,
just want to be able to test for those sorts of things. Just to back up, though, real quick to the indoor air quality piece of it, I did want to mention that we also have a device that we offer called a Luft.
Yes.
And it's a device that it's simple to set up. We just come in, we plug it in, and we hook it up to your Wi-Fi and stuff like that and connect it. And this will monitor radon in the home. It will monitor carbon dioxide, VOCs, humidity, all these different things that could affect your air quality. And it's a pretty simple process, and we do monitor it for a monthly fee,
right,
to just make sure that everything's taken care of in your home. And it's a good little device to have if you are concerned about air quality in your home.
Absolutely, just because it continuously monitors. It's not a snapshot in time, such as a radon test would be if it was for a real estate transaction, or the mold assessment would be. Is basically a snapshot at the time of, because you never really know, what's going to happen in the interim.
Right. And certainly if you have concerns about radon, as we've said in previous podcasts, you should still get the professional testing done, even if you have the Luft, because the professional testing, those get calibrated on a regular basis to make sure they're accurate. And while you get that test done, you can make sure that your device
is still calibrated and still working correctly. But all of those are really important, especially now that we're spending more time in our homes, and just making sure everything you're breathing in is good.
So last thing I want to talk about today would be sewer scope.
That was such a fun one.
That's one of my favorites.
That's only because Matt does them.
I do them. Originally, I did them because there was a need to do them.
Yeah.
But as I've done more and more of them and trained people on them, I've seen such a need.
Yeah.
For sewer scopes. If there's one thing, I think, for personally, if I were buying another house, if there's one thing that I would get done beyond a home inspection,
it would be a sewer scope.
It'd be a sewer scope. It's amazing. Number one, it is crazy expensive sometimes
to fix a sewer problem. Yeah.
And you don't want to get to it too late.
No, you don't want to back up in your house.
You do not want to be smelling that.
Plus, things can happen. They can erode. They can become displaced, the sewer pipes. So many things can happen to a sewer line, and it's underground, so you won't know until there's a problem unless you get it scoped.
Absolutely. And there's could be a million different things wrong with it, and it can continue to get worse too. There's, as mentioned some of the things you said there, and if you're down in the fan or somewhere like that where you have really old pipes and stuff, and you could have cast iron pipes certainly get rusty, and the pipes can get corroded and constricted. They can crack. If you have concrete or clay, you have good chance of cracking and deterioration there. Roots will get into them. The roots can start getting pretty bad too. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, anything that disrupts the sewer line is a bad thing. Yes. And so it is a very important thing that I don't think enough people really take advantage of when they're buying a new home or buying a home or anything, just because it's not something you think about until it's too late.
Yeah, and if you're buying a house too that has been particularly flipped or something like that, it's amazing. You don't know what's inside those pipes, because sometimes people that come in and flip the house, and they get cleaners to come in and do a finish of cleaning, and they'll flush anything down a toilet. I'll tell you that. Or things fall down the toilet before the toilet gets put in place.
Right.
We found a I found brackets for blinds in
Oh.
a line. I found nails. We had an entire hammer in a line. Rags. I mean, all kinds of things. Balls of foil. I don't know why that was in there, but balls
That's
of foil.
Very weird one.
Yes. So it's amazing the things you can find in it. And again, going back to new construction, people think, well, new construction, you don't have to worry about it. Number one, new construction, you need to have a home inspection done. There can be issues there.
New
just
does
as much
not
as
mean
anything else.
perfect.
But when it comes to the sewer scope, again, things are getting thrown down that line that you may not know is down there. They may have put the pipe in incorrectly. And the biggest thing, the one thing I see the most when we do inspections of new construction is that once they lay that pipe down, now they have all this heavy equipment kind of going over top of
Right.
it to do other things. And sometimes those pipes can get crushed underground. And at this point, they're not going to know that.
Right, and you're not going to know until you've used the water enough for it to become a problem.
That's right.
So even if you do get an inspection right before you close, it might not be enough water to cause a problem until you've moved in and you live there.
Yeah, or it could be even a couple of years down the road
Right.
before you actually find that there's an issue. I mean, there's been times when I've actually seen, even in plastic pipe, which PVC pipe is amazing, best pipe that they put out. But I've even seen there, because the pipe was installed incorrectly, it weakened the pipe, and I've seen roots going right into the pipe of
Wow.
plastic, and that's a rare thing. But if you see that, something is definitely wrong. Now, roots and all that stuff, you don't need to be afraid of it. If you have old pipes, there's nothing wrong with old pipes for the well, not always something wrong with them, even with roots. A lot of times, a good cleaning is
Right.
all those things need and maintained to keep them going. But sometimes there's some problems, and I'll leave with this last one. So we were doing a sewer scope at a house, and we got out right next to the road, and there was a utility line going right through the middle of the pipe. Completely collapsed the concrete pipe with I'm not going to call out any companies or anything, but it was a type of cable going through the middle of the pipe and just completely collapsed that pipe. So, and you just never know what kind
Right.
of issues you're going to run into.
Yeah. You are certainly an expert on sewer scopes.
I do have a passion for it.
Yes, that is fair. You've definitely done some training, and you've educated me on why sewer scopes are so important.
Yeah. You don't want to have, Uncle George coming over on Thanksgiving and ruining your day. So
Okay. Well, now that we've left you with that image,
that's right.
it's probably a good time to wrap up. We appreciate you hanging out with us today on our little more casual type of podcast.
And certainly, if anybody actually knows of a good thing to do for Christmas,
Oh,
for the
please.
season, yes, please email us, info@burgessinspects.com. I'm always looking for fun things to do this time of year. So if you have something, I'd love to hear it.
Yes, absolutely. So we want to thank you for watching, and please remember to like, share, and comment on our social media. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Between the Cracks podcast.